Hello, Dad here. I am in California again. Today is Martin Luther King's birthday celebration or holiday. Enjoyed the heck out of being back home, and I almost feel guilty being here. The weather's probably in the low 60s, and back home they're fighting snow and ice, but it is nice to be able to feed the family. I was thinking, about Martin Luther King's legacy, and when I was a kid, I was a little disappointed that a lot of the people that were his supporters were the radical socialists and the communists. But I believe now that it's probably, given the time and the age when that happened, it was probably very few I don't want to say liberals, but there were a lot of liberals that were his supporters, but he just happened to have some of those that were communists and socialists that were in his sphere of influence, or that may have been influencing him, I don't know. And I probably, just because I tend to be a very staunch fiscal conservative and more of a libertarian at heart, I probably would have been more in the camp of Dr. King had I been more aware of what was going on at the time. Having said that, I was thinking, of course, the sound bites we all remember from his "I Have a Dream" speech. That was, if you ever have a chance to read it, it is really phenomenal. It encapsulates a lot of feelings that I have as a Christian about how we should view one another, and how I wholeheartedly agree with the prospect or the concept that a person should be judged by the content of their character, and sometimes that's exhibited by their outward works, and not the color of their skin or the length of their hair or whatever. Now, having said that, it amazes me how the left, and again, I'm not talking about liberals, I'm talking about the left, has taken such a wonderful concept, and I look at it again from the prism of my Christian faith, of judging people individually based on who they are, not what they look like. And the left has taken that and twisted it to the point where everything seems to be predicated upon race or sex or your sexual preferences, your country of origin, and things like that. They have totally taken and twisted the things of beauty into something that I view as near satanic. It was the same precept of a certain European country in the 30s. I don't want to use the term because everybody says, oh, well, so-and-so is this, so-and-so is that now. But why, oh why, do we have to do this? And again, it's more so in the camp of the radical leftists that have overtaken the educational establishments. It just again, an education used to mean that a person would have a broad overview of life, science, cultures, and particularly for the development of Western civilization and the many, many wonderful things that has brought to the world. If it wasn't for the development of Western civilizations in the Renaissance and the other Age of Enlightenment and things like that, we never would have had the type of amazing technological and free world that we have now in some countries, and particularly countries that have a heritage of Western European background. You don't have to go very far to South America, Central America, Africa, Asia, the Far East, to see the lack of freedom that most people have relative to what we enjoy here in the United States and in a few remaining Western European countries. President Xi Jinping in China is now president for life. Despots and dictators in South America, Central America, Sub-Saharan Africa, Central Africa, and even South Africa is now becoming a wasteland. And yet, the far left is doing everything they can to destroy the heritage of Western culture and intellectual thought, intellectual freedom. There's very little intellectual freedom left in the social sciences at the universities. The hard sciences are pretty much, they are what they are, because you're dealing with the objective facts of whether it's various types of energy or how to solve a problem. But the social sciences have become, again, another basket case of intellectual like a it's a religion, so it's their monotheistic thought pattern that seems to rule the day at the public universities now. If somebody has a free thought or questions what their professors say, very often they're ridiculed, they're mocked, they are shamed into complying with the modern orthodox dogma of leftist thought. And I would hope, I don't know how parents here in California, especially in the major metropolitan areas, can stand to have their kids in the public schools. I was listening to a radio broadcast the other day. I believe it was Dennis Prager. Again, he's my go-to guy. And he was talking about, it was either a book that schools are using or a syllabus that they were using to teach sexuality to third graders of all people. You know, these kids they're barely potty trained. And they're in these books or syllabus that's being used. You know, they talk about how when a child is born, the doctors look at the body of a baby and guess at what sex it will be. I'm sorry. You know, unless there's the rare circumstance, and I know the term hermaphrodism is not used generally anymore, but I don't remember what the current approved term is. But objectively, based on external genitalia, it's pretty easy to tell whether the sex of a person is male or female. And it takes an awful lot of university indoctrination to get people to the point where they can say that genetics and objective visual facts are not valid ways to decide a person's sex. Their sexual preference, it's an entirely different story. And again, I'm a male, so I view things from a male perspective. But, and I think I've used this before, but even among the people that I know that are homosexuals, whether male or female homosexuals, the male homosexuals react the same way to erotic stimulus as any heterosexual male. They just happen to prefer or be drawn to a male partner, and to have the ability to have sex without the unintended consequence of pregnancy. Man, I can almost understand why that may be something that attracts people to that. Again, that's not my thing. And I've got to do the disclaimer, because some goofball is going to take what I say entirely out of context, because they've been indoctrinated by the other goofballs in the public arena. But I do have friends and family that they have same gender attraction. I don't understand it, but I love and care for them as individuals, and I want what's best and healthy for them. I don't want anybody to commit suicide because of that mental conflict. Having said that, I don't understand it. But back to the original thought, it just takes so much ignorance to say that a cow could be a bull, or a buck could be a nanny goat. It's just stupid. And if I'm not a big proponent of evolutionary thought, but if we are going to follow the logic train of evolutionary development, there is no evolutionary survival purpose for anything other than heterosexual behavior. And I get it, it can be tough, even as that. As a male, I have to constantly watch myself. I made a covenant with my wife and my God that I would only have intimate relations with her. And at times, it can be a burden. Not being with her, but keeping the natural propensity that we have as males to want to ensure genetic diversity in the world. So I get it. We all have our struggles. So let's take this day and enjoy the beauty that's out there. Enjoy your friends and family. Enjoy my rant. I'll probably come up with something else later on, but that one's just been eating at me for a while. And I will talk to you guys later. Thank you for spending time with Dad. Bye-bye.